now have the presentation by Samopomich Association of the concept of Kyiv's parking system. I invite Andriy Lohvin and Maksym Hapchuk, who are councillors at the Kyiv City Council from Samopomich Party. Hello, good afternoon. The topic of today's press conference is the concept of Kyiv's parking space, and we will consider this at the Kyiv City Council on Thursday and Friday, and we'll talk about our attitude towards this important problem for the city of Kyiv. But first, the key problems that are of concern to Kyiv residents as far as the parking topic is concerned. First, this is the huge problem with the lack of transparency of the movement of money from the parking service. Second, a huge problem with the lack of space for pedestrians and traffic jams that arise as a result of non-organized parkings in Kyiv. So what are the European trends in the development of this important issue? This is the limitation of street parking, and European colleagues always tell us that they build their trade centers on the street and park is on the ground, while we do everything vice versa. We build trade centers underground and the parking's on the street, on the surface. Then there should be a clear definition of parking and parking spaces in the city, not pinpointed to every district. As a result, we have the suggested concept. We would like to divide them into two parts. First of all, this concept does not answer any issue that I have just told you about. More than that, 80% of it corresponds to the previous concept of parking that was actually that failed with the Kyiv Park Service communal enterprise. Besides, it has the signs of corruption in the part where it is about investors. And then Article 6 says that there should be only one investor, and there are no clear-cut and understandable criteria of selecting an investor. The issue of confirming the investor will not be dealt with by the Kyiv City Council, but only by the Department of Investment of the Kyiv City Council. This is not transparent. We want to emphasize that the concept itself, well, it had a lot of versions. Its discussion lasted from the summer of 2014, but the final concept that will make it to the voting chamber tomorrow was not confirmed by the Budget Commission and the Transportation Commission. The final version was changed. So we see both procedural violations and problems of the program itself and the essence of this concept. As a result, we want to emphasize that Samopomich faction in the Kyiv City Council will be against this concept tomorrow, because in fact this is a bad business plan created to satisfy one investor. Our minimum task tomorrow is introducing amendments to this concept, at least where it is about the investor. We have a strange situation when the Kyiv City Council regulates petty issues like the resolution on the size of a advertisement in Kyiv underground, but they do not confirm the resolution about the investor for the next 5 years. So we will do everything possible in order to try to avert the realization of this concept, and I'm passing the floor to a colleague from the Budget Commission for some comments. Thank you.
Good afternoon. In fact, we will not be able to really yesterday stop passing of that concept. It will be voted for in the council and it will be approved. So we concentrate on items 5 and 6, selection of investors, financing of the program, which should be the program for the next 5 years, and the responsibility and control over this concept, because program. Now the concept says that Kyiv Transport Service itself is controlling it. Kyiv Transport Service will select investor on their own terms. They themselves will sign investment agreement with them. They will control themselves and they will just monitor it all themselves. There were several concepts already. The first concept was developed in 2001, and every 2 years they offer new concepts, but nothing changes in the parking space. I'm a Kyivite, I have a car, and I myself am for having comfortable parking lots in Kyiv and for pedestrians to have space. I want to be able to leave my car somewhere, to pay money for that, and everything that's needed from the municipality is to provide service. As to financial issues, if the majority of Kyiv Council suggests that concept, and if they want the city to really resolve this problem with parking, why do we see practically the same figure in the budget, which was in 2014? It's 50 million hryvnias, which are included into the budget of Kyiv. Our assessment is 200 million hryvnias, which we will need, and the money that's collected from Kyivites for parking, the fact that it doesn't get into the budget of the city, that is the question to the management of Kyiv Park Service and to the leadership of Kyiv. And so we are against voting for this concept without introducing the amendments in the section of control so that the corruption is not allowed. So we are for Kyiv Council, the councillors, to be able to control what's happening with the funds.
You are against this concept that will be considered tomorrow's, but what are your proposals, and who is this lone investor who is going to be entrusted with the building all those parkings? Well, some about this history. There were 3 working groups on creating alternative versions of the concept at the sitting of the commission, where they pushed this concept through. We emphasized in our addresses to the chairman that he should have announced the timeline, but our amendments were not considered. Alternatively, we involved investors and activists and representatives of the public to develop our own concept, and the work is going on. But the key messages of our alternative concept is the answer to the question of the development of parking spaces and traffic jams and the movement of pedestrians. The concept that is being considered now says that within 5 years, the parking lots will increase in number from 25,000 to 125,000. But you can go now to the street and see and imagine what will happen if the number of parking lots will increase by 5 times. We didn't have any answer to our questions, and we will table our proposal, but as far as we understand, tomorrow there's a desire and political will to adopt the concept that's been filed in spite of us. The concept always says investors, but in point 6 there's the investor, and there are no criteria of selection. It says that there's a communal enterprise, Kyiv Transport Service, that wasn't able to fulfill the preceding concept. That's going to be the developer and controller of this concept. We do not agree with this concept, and we will try to change it, at least to know who the investor is going to be and what are the conditions, what are the criteria, and we want to tell the public who is this company that's going to provide service for the city of Kyiv for 5 years. So at the moment we don't have, no, there are no criteria. Okay, any other questions, colleagues? No questions. Thank you, Andriy and Maksym, and we are waiting for you next week.